so we're doing Christmas dinner this morning. I've always go for a chicken. My family prefer chicken. They're cheaper. What I suggest you do is get a slightly better quality one than you might have got normally, because it is Christmas after all. So I've gone for a free range corn-fed chicken here. So we've got a little oven, so things are a little bit more complicated than normal. So I need to spatchuk this, or at least cut it up in a bit. So we'll see if it fits in the pan, because the pans are going to go in this oven and they need to be, it's quite small if you have a look there. It's actually a pizza oven, but we're adapting here because we're cooking outside. Okay, so, right, first of all, I've left this chicken out. When you get up on Christmas morning, don't take your meat straight out of the fridge. Leave it out, not overnight. If you've got a dog or a cat, they might eat your meat, but take it out where a pet can't get to it, so it gets to room temperature, so it's going to cook better. All right, Christmas dinner is all about timing. Okay, so this thing's going to take the longest. This is down to cook for about an hour and a half. Because I'm going to spatchuk it, it's going to be a bit quicker. So I'm going to cut it down the breast like that. Go through everything. Going to open it up. Doesn't that look good already? So get rid of that. I'm just about going to get that in. I'm going to take these off just because I can. Make a bit more space. If I was making a stock, I'd stick them in a stock. This is how easy it is. Look at that, fits really snug. Now, a little bit of oil or butter. I've got extra virgin oil here. We're going to sprinkle a little bit on top. Okay, and all I really need, because it's a fairly decent quality chicken, all I really need is get some salt on it. Both sides. A little bit more olive oil. Pepper, that freshly ground earlier. Both sides now, as Joni Mitchell said. All right. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm not putting the garlic in the orifice. I'm going to stick them underneath. So if you don't like garlic, don't put it in, but garlic's in practically everything. People say, I don't like garlic. Well, they eat garlic all the time. Even people who say they don't like garlic, they don't even know it, but they eat garlic. Right, so I'm sticking loads under there. That can go in the gravy later on. It's all about adding flavour where we can. So what am I going to do now? There's nothing left to do now. That's just going to go in the oven. I'll stick it down very hot to start with. When in doubt with an oven, 180. Okay, so this is actually quite hot because I want to cook it a bit quicker. So I'm turn it down a bit. It'll gradually cool down. This oven's a bit special in the sense that heat comes from the bottom and the top because it's a pizza oven. So I've cranked it up to about 220 there, but I'm only going to do that for half an hour to get nice and crispy, and I'm going to turn it down. Okay, maybe cover it over. We'll see how it's getting on. It's all about timing, like I said before. So we've got the chickens doing. That's going to take the longest amount of time. Now we've got some potatoes. I'm going to do roast potatoes. So these are Maris Piper, I believe, but you can use pretty much any potato. But the best ones to use are Maris Piper or King Edward. Old potatoes, basically. What you're looking to do is you could put these straight in the oven, but they're much better if you parboil them for about 7 minutes. Okay, it's all about what the potatoes like. So depending on the size of the potato, I do different sizes. So some are crispier, some are bigger. I just whack them in. I make these ones a bit smaller. Random shapes. I think roast dinner or Christmas dinner is one of the easiest things to cook because you do this all in the morning, really. Get the kids to help you, or relations. They love chopping up that was only about 4 or 5 potatoes, but it's actually quite a lot of roast potatoes there. So okay, so the potatoes are doing. Right, I'm going to prepare the carrots. Cut both the ends off. Okay, and this is what I tend to do. If you get the back of the knife like that and scrape it along, there's less waste. You just want to take the right outside part off. A lot of the nutrients on the outside of most vegetables. Yeah, that was easy. I don't tend to like carrots cut like that. Because I'm going to roast these, I'm going to do them sort of chunky but not too thin so they roast properly. Okay. Right, so that's the carrots done. We could do a bit of swede as well that we got from Fair Share last week. Okay, so I'm not going to need all this. But seeing as we're doing all the trimmings, so this is one of my favourite peelers I've ever had. Works really well. See how easy that is. Get rid of the waste. Just go into compost. Right, all you need to think about really is you want all this to be ready at the same time. So the carrots will probably cook a little bit quicker than this. So I'm going to make these this swede more of a dice. A roast dinner is so easy. All it is timing. There's nothing to it apart from timing. So there's the veg prepared. Right, so now being at Grow Speke, we do grow things here. That's the whole point of the project. So if you're ever in the area and you, especially in the summer, come round. There's always produce to give away. We've still got tomatoes left here. We've got Brussels growing. We've got some herbs in the garden. We've got some kale. But we can go and collect some Brussels sprouts because it wouldn't be Christmas without Brussels sprouts, wouldn't it? Brussels sprouts. What you can do, you can cut it. You can buy Brussels sprouts, farm shops and things like that, just like that, on the stem, which keeps them a bit fresher. But supermarkets, you can get packets for about 39p now, so they're very, very cheap, right? So they should snap off. We'll grade these when we get inside. Right, so I've probably got enough there. Take that with me. So there you go, fresh produce. Full of vitamins, full of vitamin C. So the potatoes, slightly overdone, but that's not a bad thing because that means they're going to be crispy as anything. Okay, so later on we're going to be making sage and onion stuffing, but it's not going to be stuffed inside the chicken. It's just going to be balls because it gets crispier that way. I don't like wet stuffing. I do like crispy stuffing, and it's just a bog standard Paxo. But I'll show you how to make that a bit better. So I'm going to drain the water off into here only because we're like camping and camp cooking really. And I'm going to use this water, which is just water with a bit of bits of potato in it to make the stuffing. Just reusing it, so I'm not wasting energy basically, because that'll take about 10 minutes for us to heat up outside, and it's just energy going to waste. Right, so I got rid of all the water there, and I'm going to leave that for about 5 minutes just to steam off, so it gets rid of the excess water. But in the meantime, we've all got small pans here because it's all got to fit in the oven. Right, so this is olive oil, but you don't need to use olive oil. You can use any oil you like pretty much. Not engine oil or anything like that, but anything you can cook with. So I'm going to put this in the oven for 5 minutes. No, a bit less, till it's hot. It's going to be pretty hot, so about a minute, if that. As you can tell, it doesn't really matter the timings here. We're not that strict on timings at all. Let's get rid of some of that water. Right, these roast potatoes are going to take, how long are they going to take? About, depending on your oven, and I don't know this oven because I've only ever cooked pizza in it, but if you know your oven and how long your potatoes take, so they're going to be about 40-45 minutes. Chicken's been in about 25-30 maybe. So we're going to get these in, so they should be ready roughly about the same time. And you can hold them, and once they're done you can put them in the bowl and put them in your grill, which is normally above your oven, so you can do that. I can hear something crackling. Let's have a look at how chicken's doing. It's getting there. I think with a bit more heat from above, which I can do in this oven. So heat from above, turn that up. Right, so that's nice and hot there. They will shrink as you cook, but you don't want them too close together. I want to get the most in because everybody loves roast potatoes. Right, and then move the oil around. Whoops, it's all clean. That dropped on the floor, that would have been rejected. Okay, see how they're, Jamie Oliver would say they're chuffed up. That's a word he would use. I don't think it's actually a word in the English dictionary. We sort of know what he means. They're sort of breaking up a little bit. That means they're going to be hopefully pretty crispy and brown and golden. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of pepper. The thing that crisps up your roast potatoes is salt, basically, because it dries it out a little bit. But I'm going to put a bit of pepper on there, just because one of the things I do. You could stick rosemary in if you want to be a bit chefy. If you have a rosemary, you can get dried rosemary. We've got some out there, but the beetles have eaten it. Could put it on, but it looks a bit not quite right. So plenty of salt. You should watch your salt intake, but not at Christmas, I don't think. But it's only a little bit. It's a tiny amount. It's going to be split between about 4 or 5 people in all probability. So smells nice already, actually, the olive oil. You could use beef dripping. You could just put these potatoes around your chicken when that's cooking. Get a bit of chicken flavour, or you're cooking lamb, why not? Or beef, don't waste space. It's only because there's no space in our chicken pan that we're putting this like that. So that goes in, hot oven, 40 minutes, and that'll be done. Right, so where's my stuffing gone? There it is. Sage and onion stuffing. In my opinion, the only one to have. Don't go for the really expensive stuff. Supermarket own brand, 30p. This is a well-known brand. Pretty basic stuff, but I'll show you the way to make this better. Let's see what it says. You have to empty the packet into a bowl. Not even reading the instructions here. Okay. Right, secret stuffing. Put a big knob of butter in it. You've already got the butter. You could add onion to it. I always add garlic. I add garlic to everything. I think something I've been doing lately with garlic is I've just been peeling it. I didn't bring it with me this morning, and then I just grate it, which is so much easier to do. If you've got a grater, but don't have to put garlic in. Keep your fingers away like that. You don't want to be cutting your end of your finger off at Christmas, because by now you'd have probably had a little bit of a drink, I'd imagine, if you drink. That's when you have to be careful. Right, so I'm going to put that in there. I like a bit of kick to my stuffing, so I've got pepper here. Everything's well seasoned in this kitchen. Because all you got in stuffing really is basically bread, a few herbs and a bit of onion. So the more you add to it, the better really. I'll just put garlic on, I'll just use my fingers because it's nice and clean. There you go. We're going to just go to the garden and get some sage, because we can. Fresh sage. So we've got sage here. Some of it's been eaten by a few insects. It's an underused herb. Goes great. You can make a lovely sage butter if you just melt some butter and put a few leaves of sage in, a few bits of garlic, and you've got a lovely sauce for pasta. So, smells great. I'm going to just stick this in our stuffing to make it more sagey. Right. So I'm going to chop this up fine. If you ever want any herbs, you're cooking something or a few veggies in the summer, we're always open at Speke. Always glad to give any produce we've got, any seasonal produce or herbs or fruit. There you go, that goes in. I will look at the packet to see how much water I'm supposed to put in. Because I don't want to make it wet. What does it say? See, I prepared this. So, it says 215 millilitres of boiling water. Well, I'm really none the wiser because I haven't got any measuring thing here, but I do know that a small bottle of beer is 330 millilitres. So I'm going to go for 2/3 of a bottle would be a bottle of beer, if you follow me. So we're about less than a cupful. So where are we here? That could be right. I like my stuffing a bit drier. So what you do with the stuffing, I think we might have that just about right, possibly. You have to wait about 10 minutes for that to stiffen up a bit, so it actually forms into balls. Okay. I think we might have a slight change of plan on the roasted vegetables, simply because the oven is, didn't think about this, it's completely full now. So I'm going to actually boil the said vegetables and then mash them up. Okay, I said I wasn't going to do that, but I've changed my mind because I can. Okay, so put some carrots in there, Swedes. The mix doesn't really matter. There you go, it's on. Right, the other thing, pigs in blankets. We're getting the pigs in blankets is basically chipolatas surrounded by bacon. Of course, you can buy these ready-made, but buy them ready-made if you want to. They're not going to be much difference. You start it off, just wrap it round, wrapping it round, wrapping it round, wrapping it round. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? Pigs in blankets. It's not really cooking, it's not even a recipe. It's just a sausage wrapped in bacon. That easy. Let's go and check how the chicken's doing. Let's have a look at this chicken. When you're checking in the oven, always be quick. You can tell that's corn-fed chicken because it's a bit yellow, isn't it? It's always a bit of a giveaway. Looks all right. Cooking nicely. Now it's a question of just waiting for the veggies to do. I'll keep the water back for doing the gravy. That's boiling away nicely. Now we can have another drink. It is Christmas after all. Right, ready to go. Brussels sprout preparation. If nobody likes Brussels sprouts in your family, then obviously don't make them. Why we put ourselves through it every year, eating Brussels sprouts, you either love them or you hate them. As you can tell, these are all organic, so there's been nothing treated on this, so they will have a few nibbles. So Brussels sprouts, they're ready when they're ready, but don't cook them less, is what I'm saying. Once you get that overcooked cabbage smell, they lose all their vitamins, you've wasted loads of energy, and they're not as tasty. The best thing to do with Brussels sprouts is cook too many, and then you can make bubble and squeak, which is one of the other recipes we're going to do. And we're going to concentrate on potatoes in the near future, which is like sort of leftover meals, not wasting any food. Brussels are cooking, almost. Bit of salt. I'll put a few more in there. Right, so look at that. Move back to our stuffing now, which I've almost forgot about. Let's smell it. Definitely smells of garlic and sage. Slightly better than the what we started off with. Nothing wrong with sage and onion stuffing, even if you just use water. It's a lovely thing. The secret is to get lovely and crispy though. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a different texture, a bit of a crunch, aren't you? Right, so because I've got a little oven here, I'm going to improvise, and I'm going to fry the pigs and blankets slowly, and hopefully that'll work. Obviously at home you just stick them in the oven for about 20 minutes, job done. Okay, but we're going to have to gently fry them, and I don't think that's going to be any problem whatsoever. Right, so wait for the pan to heat up. I was just going to bung it in there, but not best practice. You need to wait for that to get a bit warmer. Right, and now improvising again, we've got our stuffing here, stuffing balls. So don't have to be round. If you make them like that, they're going to be a bit crispier because they've got more surface area. If you'd made a ball, less surface area, so rough is better, kind of. But in this instance I might make balls because I'm going to put them straight into the pizza oven on the floor, on the stone, sorry. Which is okay because a pizza oven you do cook on the stone. So there's 4 of us here today, so how are we going to do 8, see how we get on with. All different sizes, that doesn't really matter. Let's see if we've got any space in the oven. Nice and golden, looking lovely. Some of them broke up slightly, but that's not a problem. I'll leave them for a second there. I'm going to put these, I'm going to roll them because I can. There you go, to the back of the oven. Like I said, it's a pizza oven, so it'll be fine. You've seen nobody do that before. Put these back in, and then we'll have a look at that in 20 minutes. I mean, sausages as a separate are always kind of nicer fried anyway. People tend to grill everything these days because they think it's better for you, but ultimately the sausage skin, when you grill it, goes hard. When you fry it, in my opinion, it's better. Makes a bit more mess and people think it's a bit less healthy, but the fat will come out the sausage anyway. So we'll just leave them and turn them slowly as we go. Oh, they're lovely and soft. Because they're so fresh, I've probably overdone them. So to me, they've gone a bit less vibrantly green, but they're nice. They haven't even been cooking 5 minutes. I got distracted for a second, but they don't smell overcooked. So I'll put them aside, and we'll just put a bit of butter on them when we serve. So you keep on turning your sausages if you're doing it this way. If you're doing it in the oven, then you just basically leave them. Right, now we just wait until the chicken's done. Oh, that's looking a bit better. See, if this was a turkey, a big turkey like everybody used to get, then you'd be cooking this for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Whereas good quality chicken, I would recommend for Christmas, as long as you've got all the trimmings, gravy, cranberry sauce, things like that. It's all about the trimmings, isn't it? Have whatever meat you like. Right, secret to meat cookery, I would say, is make sure it's room temperature when you put it in the oven, and make sure you rest the meat. Okay, so all the juices flow back into the middle of the joint, and the whole thing's a lot juicier. Okay, so let's see if this chicken's done. We'll put it up there. See if the juices run clear. I can see if you look in here. So that's running clear. And if you look in there, all that beautiful sauce, we're going to make a bit of gravy in a minute. Okay. So to me, that looks absolutely delicious. So I'm going to lift that off into here. Okay. Got the garlic cloves there, and put that. They look lovely. Parson's nose. All right. Normally you'd put this in somewhere warm, but we're outside basically, so we haven't got that many warm places. Tin foil might be a little better, but this will be okay. That can stay there. The only problem with resting chicken is the lovely crispy skin is getting a bit less crispy. So the thing to do, if you're the chef, is have a bit of crispy chicken skin now. I won't do that. Or shall I do that? Why not? See what it tastes like. Tastes lovely. Absolutely delicious. Right, leave that there, the rest of it. Now we're going to quickly make the gravy. So I'm taking the fat off. In the olden days, there'd have been lots of recipes for this fat. But this stuff here is amazing taste. This is, if you roasted this down further, it'll get a bit more solid. Okay. So, that will taste absolutely delicious. I'm not going to taste it because we're going to eat it, but I know it is. Right, it's going to warm that up. Shouldn't take too long. Right, if that was more cooked, it'll be solid. And what you do is you put a bit of liquid in there. What liquid you choose is completely up to you. You don't have to put any alcohol in there at all. But here, we've got some Speke cider which we made last year. I've just put it in a vermouth bottle. You could put red wine in now, white wine. You could put in Guinness. You could put in lager if you really wanted to. There's some good recipes with chicken and lager. But I'm going to use cider because that's from Speke and we made this. Okay. So that's bubbling nicely. Put some cider in. Move it around a bit. And what you're aiming to do is all these little burnt bits around the side of the pan, you're rubbing them so it gets into the sauce. So what you're trying to do is make the most out of that lovely chicken taste. You can now, you need to add some stock to it. You can either use a stock cube, or because it's Christmas, I bought this from the local supermarket. It is free range chicken stock. That was £1.50, whereas this costs about 15p. So it's all depending on what your budget is. Nothing wrong with this, nothing wrong with that. This might taste better than that. Right, now you can put in two different types of flour here. You can put in corn flour or ordinary flour. And you don't want it to go lumpy, so I'm going to put a bit in the on the top. I'm going to slowly mix it in. So I never really measure things. You don't really need to. Maybe a bit too much there, I suspect. I'm going to mix it in slowly. I'm going to make a paste up here with a natural slope. And once I've got a paste, I'm going to mix it into the main body and I'm going to add the stock. I'm really hoping it's not going to go lumpy. No one wants a lumpy gravy. Or you could just get Bisto out. Nothing wrong with that either. If you just like making Bisto gravy, make out your Bisto gravy normally the way you do, and just stick the liquid that was in there in your Bisto gravy. That'd be just fine. Probably a lot easier than doing it this way, but spud's looking good. The stuffing less so, if I'm perfectly honest. Right, so my stuffing balls have turned into stuffing lumps, which they look good though. That's what happens when you're trying to do a roast dinner in a tiny oven. And look how big that is. It's pretty small. There you go. Roast potatoes, nice and golden. Sausage, pigs in blankets, carrots, Brussels, asbestos fingers, bit of gravy. And there you have it. Christmas lunch, Grow Speke style. Cooked outside. If you can do it here, you can do it anywhere. Right, now a bit of everything here. I'm going to start off with a bit of roast potato, a bit of chicken. Delicious. Okay, so there you have it. Christmas dinner. We used chicken instead of turkey. Use whatever meat you like. No point cooking something your family doesn't like. And if somebody really wants turkey, go to the deli and get a couple of thick slices of their breast of turkey. Cheap way of doing it, isn't it? And just fry it up with loads of butter in the pan and it'll be fine. Okay, thank you very much.